The wood frog. Picture the coldest morning you've ever walked through. Then imagine letting it freeze every drop of water inside you and calling that a nap. This frog's heart will stop beating this winter, and next winter, and every winter after that. Every spring it restarts, which is medically impossible for anything with a spine. Wood frogs live across Alaska, Canada, and the northern US, where temperatures drop as low as -18 Celsius. 65% of the animal's body water freezes solid. Heart rate drops to 0. Brain activity ceases. Kidneys shut down. That state holds for up to 7 months. Every animal on Earth has a short list of things that kill it instantly, and freezing solid sits near the top. The wood frog crossed it off. The trick is chemistry. As temperatures drop, its liver floods the bloodstream with glucose, up to 100 times normal levels. That sugar wraps every cell and blocks ice crystals from forming inside. Ice only forms in the spaces between. When spring hits, the heart restarts with no external trigger, and scientists still aren't sure what sends the signal. The wood frog gets called a hibernator. That's not what this is. Its heart stops. Its brain flatlines. By every medical definition used for mammals, the animal is dead, and then it isn't. Every spring, a block of ice decides it would rather be a frog again, and nobody can fully explain the paperwork. The sea cucumber. If something grabs you, your options are limited. Run, fight, hide. The sea cucumber has a fourth option that would send any human straight to an emergency room. It ejects the inside of its own body. Over 1,700 species live in every ocean, from tide pools to the deep sea. The process has a formal name: evisceration, the voluntary expulsion of the animal's internal organs, right through a tear in its body wall or straight out the back end. Some species throw sticky, toxic threads instead, snaring predators in a web of their own intestines. It looks like a sausage with its plumbing loose in the water next to it, floating away while the sausage keeps walking. Losing a single kidney would hospitalize a human. Losing every internal organ would kill one instantly. The sea cucumber dumps everything it has: digestive tract, respiratory organs, gonads, then grows a brand new set in 1 to 5 weeks. The biology is elegant. Sea cucumbers have mutable collagen in their body wall that shifts from stiff to liquid on command, letting them rupture specific sections at will. Stem cell populations handle the rebuild, reassembling complex organ systems from basic tissue. There are rebuilds. There are full rebuilds. And then there's, I have redesigned my own digestive system in 3 weeks because a crab looked at me funny. The Bombardier Beetle. Your body isn't designed to handle boiling liquid. The Bombardier Beetle's body generates it on purpose, hundreds of times a day, and aims it out the back end. Inside this beetle right now, 2 chemicals sit in separate chambers. If they ever touched by accident, they'd kill the beetle in milliseconds. Every single day, they touch on purpose. 500 species of Bombardier beetle live on every continent except Antarctica. The beetle stores hydroquinones and hydrogen peroxide in separate reservoirs, then mixes them in a reaction chamber with catalase and peroxidase enzymes. The result hits 100 Celsius, the boiling point of water, and fires out as a visible steam jet in pulses reaching 500 per second. 1 mixing chamber, 2 stored chemicals, temperatures hot enough to scald, 500 pulses a second, 0 damage to the beetle itself. The chamber is lined with a thick, heat-resistant cuticle, and the beetle aims using a steerable rear turret. Researchers at MIT have studied its pulsed jet design for propulsion engineering. Evolution refined a controlled explosion inside a 1-centimeter insect. People call the spray acid. It isn't. It's boiling water and irritant benzoquinones. Chemistry, not corrosion. The list has your own body catching fire from the inside near the top. The Bombardier Beetle skipped past that item and built a business model around it. Evolution looked at catastrophic internal explosion and thought, yeah, we can make a living out of that. The opossum. If a pit viper bites you, you have hours at best. The opossum would barely look up from its garbage. There's something in this animal's blood that could save thousands of human lives a year, and pharmaceutical companies have been trying to extract it for decades. Opossums are the only marsupial native to North America, living from southern Canada down into Central America. Their blood produces a peptide called lethal toxin neutralizing factor, or LTNF, which binds to and disables a wide spectrum of snake venoms. They're immune to rattlesnakes, cottonmouths, and most pit vipers. A rattlesnake bite incapacitates a dog in 30 minutes. A copperhead bite can down a coyote in 2 hours. An opossum can take multiple bites in a single night and be foraging again by morning. When venom resistance isn't enough, the opossum's body dumps it into an involuntary state that mimics death. Lips pull back, tongue lolls out, glands near the anus release a rotting corpse smell. The animal stays conscious the whole time and can't move for up to 4 hours. People think opossums play dead like a kid pretending on the floor. The animal isn't acting. It's in full neurological shutdown, a documented stress-induced catalepsy, with as much choice in the matter as you have over a fainting spell. The opossum survives its ecosystem by being so bad at reacting to danger that it accidentally invented the world's most effective impression of roadkill: the hagfish. You have lungs. Lungs are tubes. Tubes can fill with a substance that expands 10,000 times in less than half a second. Imagine needing to breathe through that. The US Navy is actively studying this animal for bulletproof armor, not because of how it attacks, because of what it excretes. 76 species of hagfish live in cold ocean waters worldwide, at depths from 300 feet down to 3,000. They release a mucus that binds with seawater and expands 10,000 times in volume in under 4/10 of a second. A single hagfish can fill a 5-gallon bucket with slime in minutes. There's documented footage of a shark biting a hagfish, immediately releasing it, and swimming away gasping, literally drowning in slime. Asphyxiation from your own bodily fluids sits at the top of every predator's list. The hagfish weaponized it. Inside the slime are thousands of microscopic protein threads, coiled into skeins the size of a grain of sand. On contact with seawater, they uncoil into a mucin seawater matrix stronger, pound for pound, than spider silk. To avoid choking on its own slime, the hagfish ties itself in a knot and slides the knot down its body to strip the mucus off. The hagfish's only defense is drowning, and its only counter-defense is tying itself in a pretzel, which means somewhere in the ocean tonight, a fish is playing Twister to avoid suffocating in its own saliva. If you're enjoying learning about creatures that refuse to play by the rules, I post new animal content on this channel every week, and subscribing really helps me keep doing it. Thanks. The Namib desert beetle. Without water, you have 3 days. The Namib desert gets less than half an inch of rain in an entire year. This beetle has never seen a puddle. Engineers at MIT designed a bottle that pulls drinking water out of thin air. They copied this beetle's back. The Namib desert beetle is endemic to the southwestern coast of Africa, in a region averaging 1/2 inch of rainfall annually, among the driest places on Earth. Daily fog blown in from the Atlantic is its only water source. Its shell is covered in alternating hydrophilic, water-attracting, and hydrophobic, water-repelling patches. Here's what's wild. The beetle climbs to the top of a dune, tilts its body into the wind at a 45-degree angle, and lets fog condense into droplets that roll directly into its mouth. The Sahara gets 8 inches of rain a year and is considered one of the harshest environments on the planet. The Atacama gets about 1 inch. The Namib fog belt gets almost nothing. This beetle evolved for a habitat one step shy of nothing. The geometry of its bumpy back concentrates water molecules at the hydrophilic peaks, then channels them down hydrophobic grooves straight to the mouth. No energy required. The beetle invented fog harvesting tech humans are still copying, did it with no engineering budget, and the only required job training was stand there at a slight angle. The Antarctic Icefish. Every vertebrate on Earth needs hemoglobin, the red protein that carries oxygen through blood. Except for this one. It rewrote the rulebook and kept going. If you caught this fish and cut it, the blood would run clear. Not pink, not pale, clear, like water from a tap. 16 species of Antarctic icefish live in the Southern Ocean, in water sitting at -1.9 Celsius, the freezing point of seawater. They're the only known vertebrates with no hemoglobin and no red blood cells. Their scales are transparent. Their skin is translucent. The eyes and digestive tract shadow faintly through the body. Humans have about 15 grams of hemoglobin per 100 milliliters of blood. Cod have around 10. Tuna have 14. The Antarctic Icefish has 0. And somehow, it still breathes. It compensates with an oversized heart, up to 4 times larger than similar-sized fish, a larger blood volume, and oxygen absorbed directly through the skin. Antifreeze glycoproteins bind to microscopic ice crystals in the bloodstream and stop them from growing, the same chemistry used in commercial ice cream to keep it smooth. Scientists long believed every vertebrate required hemoglobin to survive. The icefish is a living refutation. Biology textbooks had to be rewritten. In the Southern Ocean, there's a fish with ghost blood, a heart the size of a plum, and the only textbook mentioning it ends the section with, "We're working on it." Somewhere along the way, biology stopped being a rule book and became a suggestion. The mountain stone weta. The wood frog freezes once a winter. This insect freezes every night, then thaws, then does it again tomorrow. Somewhere in New Zealand right now, hundreds of these insects are being actively frozen and unfrozen on a nightly basis, and they're completely fine with it. The mountain stone weta is native to the alpine regions of New Zealand's South Island, where nighttime temperatures drop below freezing on a regular basis. 82% of its body fluids can turn to ice without killing it. It survives internal temperatures down to -10 Celsius, and it repeats the freeze-thaw cycle multiple times every winter. A scientist can pick up a frozen weta, set it on a hand, and watch it wake up. The animal resumes eating within minutes. Picture a cricket the size of a matchbox, frosted white like a tiny donut, twitching one leg and then getting back to breakfast like nothing happened. Like the wood frog, it uses cryoprotectants. But the weta also adjusts its hemolymph chemistry nightly, based on forecast temperatures. It effectively has a built-in weather app. Researchers studying organ cryopreservation in humans have been examining the species for years. The weta doesn't avoid items on the list. It schedules them. There's an insect in New Zealand that treats dying of cold the way you treat brushing your teeth. A daily task, slightly annoying, over before you finish your coffee. The pistol shrimp. The surface of the sun is about 5,500 Celsius. The pistol shrimp generates 4,700 Celsius inside its own claw. On purpose, several times a day. This shrimp makes a louder noise than a gunshot, and the noise isn't made by its voice or by friction. It's made by briefly creating a point hotter than most stars. The oversized claw snaps shut at 60 miles per hour, faster than a bullet leaving some handguns, and that snap creates a cavitation bubble that collapses at 218 decibels. Inside the collapsing bubble, temperatures briefly hit 4,700 Celsius, and the collapse even emits a tiny flash of light, a phenomenon otherwise only seen in physics labs. A thunderclap is 120 decibels. A jet engine at takeoff is 140. A pistol shrimp snap is 218. Decibels are logarithmic, which means this shrimp is roughly 100,000 times louder than the jet, and it fits in your palm. Rapidly closing the claw creates a low-pressure zone so extreme that water itself vaporizes. When the bubble collapses, conditions briefly exceed the inside of a small star. The shockwave stuns or kills nearby fish, and the shrimp walks over and eats them. People assume pistol shrimp is hyperbole, some cute snapping sound. The name is literal. It generates a shockwave equivalent to a small pistol and hunts with it. In this shrimp's claw tonight, for a fraction of a microsecond, the universe will contain one tiny square millimeter briefly hotter than the surface of the sun, and the shrimp is doing it to catch dinner. The painted turtle. Your brain has about 4 minutes without oxygen. Theirs have a full winter. This year's hatchlings are still inside their shells, frozen, no oxygen, no heartbeat, and most of them will wake up in the spring perfectly fine. The painted turtle is the most widespread native turtle in North America. Hatchlings stay in the nest through winter after hatching in late summer, surviving internal temperatures as low as -4 Celsius. They tolerate total oxygen deprivation for up to 170 days. Adult painted turtles bury themselves in pond mud where oxygen is essentially non-existent and stay there all winter, metabolizing without breathing for nearly 6 months. A human without oxygen loses consciousness in about 15 seconds. Brain damage begins at 4 minutes. The painted turtle hatchling goes 170 days. That's 14.5 million seconds of medically impossible. The shell absorbs excess lactic acid produced by anaerobic metabolism, acting as a built-in chemical buffer. Its brain cells are uniquely resistant to low oxygen damage, and scientists studying stroke prevention in humans have been examining the species for decades. A painted turtle hatchling can hold its breath from Halloween to Easter, and the scientific community is still not quite sure how it does that without its brain turning into oatmeal. Death, it turns out, is negotiable if you're willing to spend 5 months as a biological loophole. The Immortal Jellyfish. Every other animal on the list shares one entry at the very bottom. Eventually, you'll get old and die. This one crossed that off too. If you were this animal, you could live forever, and every time life got hard, you'd turn back into a baby. The immortal jellyfish is found in oceans worldwide, originally from the Mediterranean, but now everywhere. When stressed, injured, or starving, the adult medusa reabsorbs itself back into its juvenile polyp stage, and that polyp buds off new, genetically identical medusae. The process is called transdifferentiation. Cells don't just divide, they transform from one type straight into another. Muscle cells become nerve cells. The entire animal rewinds. It's the only known multicellular animal confirmed to be biologically immortal. Your cells divide about 50 times before they stop. That's the Hayflick limit, and it's why you age. This jellyfish doesn't have one. Its cells can revert, divide, transform, and reset with no known ceiling. People hear immortal and picture an invincible jellyfish. It isn't. It can be eaten, crushed, or cooked by warm water. It just can't die from aging. It's not unkillable, it's unelderly. The wood frog crossed off, your heart stopped. The hagfish crossed off, drowning in your own fluids. The icefish crossed off, you need red blood cells to breathe. The immortal jellyfish crossed off the last item anyone thought was written in permanent ink, time itself. And it did it by learning, biologically, how to ungrow up. Somewhere off the coast of Italy tonight, a jellyfish older than your grandmother just had a bad day, and it turned itself into a baby and started over, which may be the single most unfair biological cheat code ever written. If any of this cracked your sense of what's biologically possible, stick around. New animal content drops on this channel regularly, and subscribing is how you'll catch the next one. Thanks for watching.